Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Buddy off. Good. Well, silly boy, couche. Good. Now we're gonna keep working on our healing series that we've been doing. Let me get a little closer to the camera. Off, off. Because I know my sound has been real weak because I don't have a Bluetooth system. So, come on, up. Couche. Pas bouger. All right. Okay, so assis. Good. Pas bouger. Couche. Buddy. Yep, good boy. So, what I'm doing right now is we're going to keep working on our healing exercise, showing you that. And I'm doing something else if you may not realize it. I have a lot of times couche that I want to chatter at the screen and have my dog out here. And the voice tone and all the mannerisms start to affect the dog because he doesn't know what's going on. He gets antsy. It's fidgety. So the idea is to have a demo dog that I can actually put on a downstay, do my thing, and get him to relax. So a lot of this is a double-edged sword that we're working with, and you guys don't even realize that, but there's a method to the madness. Give me a second here. Good. So we're trying to get him to relax and not fidget it when I'm right next to him and doing this sort of thing. Couche. Good. Pas bouger. Good. All right, so what we've done and we've covered so far is we've talked about the leash, management of the leash, control factor. We're going to get more into that later because there's a lot more motor movements to go with this leash as you do other things. No. See, now this is behavior. If you've noticed the last couple mornings, he's come onto this table and he's antsy and fidgety because I'm sitting here talking to you and he wants to start eating on this. So there are corrections involved in his life, and this would be one of them. And I don't want him to get into negative behavior doing that sort of thing. All right, so back to our overview of what we've already covered. We've already gone through the leash, thumb of the loop, slack in the right hand, making sure that we've got a nice slack ratio in the leash when he's at a side. We've covered the right about turn, the left hand turn. Those are the two turns we've covered. There's about 2 or 3 other ones that go along with it, and other movement type of exercise that we do in teaching the dog to heel. So we're going to be going over what's the right hand turn today. So the main thing is that you have to understand I've given it to you in the same order that I would build on the dog. I would get the dog lured into a sit. He would be at my side. I'd praise him. I'd get him in that nice default position where we start. Dog's name, hand signal command for heel. And we'd step off with the left foot first, right foot is stay, left foot is heel. And then we would start moving, okay? And the first turn we would do would be our right about turn because it's going to be the one that's most prevalent on the dog's part as far as behavior. He's going to float out in front of you. So when he does, you go the other way and you give him a little nip, and you go the other way and redirect his attention to you and get him back in the pocket where he should be, that position that he's supposed to be at, right? And then after he gets a flow of that, and he's doing a lot of starting and stopping the whole time, then you'd heel him off and you'd slip in a left-hand turn. And that would be his first experience for it. You'd go through that enough that he started to get that repetition, would start to show it to him. And then you would be doing mix-up, okay? Now, you've heard me talk about it, hopefully, if you're watching me for a length of time, the powers of 2s and 3s. Where does that theory come from, and where does it? It's mine. I created it. It's something that I believe in because I've been so into teaching dogs and getting them to learn that I've understood what pattern does to build a dog. And pattern, and everything you do in training, there's a pattern involved. If you go out to IPO or Schutzen, they have a very structured pattern type of a program that they build those dogs to end up with that end result in their behaviors, right? So everything revolves around pattern and routine, and that's in everything in the dog's life. So then when we get going, you'll start to see things like anticipation. You've heard me talk about anticipation being the first sign of learning. Let's say I'm teaching a dog a down, and I start bending over every time I'm doing it because I'm using my body language and I'm using a lot of help with my voice tone and everything I'm doing to try to convey the thought to the dog to get him to do that down. Pretty soon, he starts to see my body and he anticipates, right? That's the first sign of learning. Right? So when we do this mix-up, which is what I call the powers of 2s and 3s, we don't just do it one time. We go out and we heel off. I've done one right about turn. I'll do another right about turn and then another one, and then I'll slip in a left, right? And then back to my right about turns. So the dog never really knows what's coming, and he has to learn to pay attention. It's his first learning as far as learning that he has to pay attention to you, okay? So one of the next turns would be, if I've done a right about turn, and then I've done a left-hand turn. I'm doing a lot of starting and stopping, and I'm just adding on that pattern. The next one would be our right-hand turn. And you notice that I've told you that each one of these turns is designed to do a certain thing, okay? When the dog flows out in front, he's not paying attention, there's a right about turn. I'm going the opposite way, right? I put him behind me, and I put him out of that pocket, and I reaffirm that he's got to be where he's supposed to be. Then the left-hand turn. Right? And then the next turn would be our right hand turn. It's exactly opposite of left hand, okay? And it has a purpose too. Remember, the left hand turn is for when the dog's trying to crowd my body. Let me get this set up. Come on. Good. We'll get this out of the way. And if I can keep my face on screen, we can back up a little bit. Hopefully I'm still on screen here. Okay. When we did the left hand turn, remember the reason for it. It was for when the dog was crowding my body and getting in my way, right? And I start doing left-hand turns to teach him to stay back, because there's that square line. It's going to teach him to stay behind my body. Now the right-hand turn is exactly opposite of the left-hand turn. You're walking along, and as you walk, you take a long-reaching left, again, pivoting on the ball of the left foot. All our turns are on the ball of the left foot, and I go to the right hand, okay? So it's a very square opposite of the square that we did on the left-hand turn. The square turn being that we're right on top of ourselves for the left-hand turn, and we're right on top of ourselves for the right-hand turn, right? So, what is it designed for? Oh, yeah. So, excuse me if my face is off screen here, but all right. So now, if I'm here, the dog will have a tendency to float too far out of my little square. Remember, he's got a position that we're trying to keep him in the heel position, which is right next to my body, and a little square. Anytime he's out of that square, we're going to do one of these turns. So the other thing that the dog will do is he'll start floating off to my left too far out of that pocket, out of his position he's supposed to be in. So then I will do a long reaching left, pivot on the ball of that left foot to the right hand, and then catch him for being too far out of the pocket, reaffirm that he's supposed to be with me, right? So let me go ahead and see if I can pull this together. We're at a point now that I can start showing you a basic healing, right? Buddy, good boy, good. And I'm gonna pump him up like normal. I've got food this morning. Buddy, you ready? Oh, good boy, good. Ready? Good boy, yes, good boy, good, eh? He's trying to grab at my toy. Oh, yeah, good boy. Are you ready? Ready? Buddy, good. Thumb on the loop, slack in my right hand, get set, buddy. Oh, yeah, good. My toy is in the way there. Okay, so now, let's see if I can pull a bunch of these turns together and pay attention and start watching me work it without accenting each individual turn. Buddy, nope. Well, notice he's too far back. I want him here, so I kind of gave him a little correction for that. Buddy, oh yeah, good. Pumped up because he knows that toy's there. So I'm gonna bring in, pumped up because he knows the toy's there. So I'm gonna bring in food. Change his mental attitude. Good. And then change my energy down to 0, right? Very easy. And a very slow walk. Try to take his drive state to another spot, right? Good. So again, right hand turn is for when the dog is too far off to my left hand side and I pivot and go the opposite way. If you notice, every one of these turns puts the dog behind us and puts us in a position that we can reaffirm to him that he should be in the right position, which is here. And that's what we're after, right? Good boy. Up, yeah. Good. Good. Boy, good. Right hand turn. Right hand turn. Good, yes, good. Up, yeah. So those are your main turns. There's a couple other things we need to be aware of. And I'll go ahead and give it to you today and kind of break this down a little bit farther for you. If I had tried to do a left-hand turn, he's in this position that I was talking about where he's kind of curbing your body, you'll have a tendency to be tripping over the dog. If the dog figures out that he can be in that position and encumber your flow, he's going to be putting himself in that position to avoid your corrections and to be putting himself in a position of overcoming what you're asking him to do. It's very natural. So when I do this, what I do a lot of times is we'll do a right about turn and lead into a left, okay? That puts the dog behind you, and you'll see what I'm talking about right now. Buddy, oh yeah, right about turn. I'm gonna do another one. And then what happens, when you do that right about turn, that causes the dog to be somewhat, excuse me, behind you, right? Now, so I'll do right about turn, and then I'll right away hit that left-hand turn before he gets in a position that he puts himself into this position where it would be the sweet spot for him, right? Where he could avoid me doing that left-hand turn. So the answer to that one is right about turn leading into your left, right? So that's the other little trick that I wanted you to understand when I started giving you that left-hand turn, that a lot of times he'll put himself in a position that's almost impossible to do the left-hand turn because he's right in your way and you're stumbling over the top of it. So the answer is a right about turn, put him behind you a little bit, and then lead into that left. Boom. See what I'm saying? So that's about it for today. Happy Labor's Days. I'm going to post a little morning walkabout that I did talking about these fires we got out here and this high heat on Labor Day 2020. We'll mark that in the history books. We're up here in the high desert. Couche, Pabouche. Have a good day, guys. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Buddy.